Hello, I'm back. It's your girl, Michelle, coming to you once again. I was talking with my daughter a few days ago, and we were just reminiscing on old things and things that were funny. I was telling her some things that I went through that were funny, and then I realized that laughter saved my sanity. I do a lot of laughing. Sometimes people think I'm laughing at the wrong time. But laughter, like I said, saved my sanity, even with some of the things that I explained to you guys that I went through last week. I can almost deal with anything. I really can deal with anything through laughter. I was thinking about this time when, really the first time that I met my oldest daughter's father. I was at a funeral. And I was sitting down at the funeral, and you know how a young lady, I was really, really young. I think I had to be about 16. And had my legs crossed and had my hands crossed and sitting in my lap. And I heard somebody say, "Hey." Like, what the world? Hey. And I'm like, I looked over at him. He was like, "You know what? You really have some ugly hands." And I was like, oh my goodness. So I immediately started laughing. And I was trying to hide my face so no one would know I was laughing. And as I was laughing, people thought I was crying. I was at my brother's grandmother's funeral, and they thought I was crying. And it was like, "Baby, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. God is able." And I'm like, no, I'm laughing. This dude is talking about my hands are ugly. And the true part about it is people used to tell me all the time, "You know, you have hands just like your father." And I was like, now, I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. My father passed when I was really young, so I didn't know. I was just excited and happy that people were commenting on something about me that he had. So for him to tell me I had ugly hands, it was really funny to me. And in a funeral, and after the funeral, he tried to talk to me. And what I told him was, it's a good thing ain't nobody never walked up to me and asked for my hands. Yes. So that was one of the funny things that I kind of laughed through. And needless to say, about 5 years later, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 3 years later, 4 years later, we had a baby. And that's something. So he wasn't interested in my hands. Okay. All right. Okay, then I was thinking about, I have a sitting service. I sit with different clients that may have mental or physical disabilities. I really specialize in Alzheimer's. My grandmother, my father's mom, she passed from Alzheimer's, and my grandfather passed from Alzheimer's. I try to talk to the family and tell them that you have to go into their world. Don't try to bring them out of their world, because it makes them angry and aggressive, and just, it doesn't go very well. So years ago, when my grandfather had Alzheimer's, he would do and say things that were just really amazing. So I tried to deal with it, with laughter, to show my family too, that we can have a relationship with him, but it was a new, different type of relationship. So one day, I came up to his house, and my cousin was there, and my mom and everybody was sitting there, and I walked in the door, and he said, "Well, hey there, how you doing?" I said, "Well, all right, how you doing?" He said, "Well, when did you get out of jail?" I said, "Yesterday. They let me out yesterday." He said, "Well, I'm glad for you. I'm happy. I hope you get yourself together." I said, "Well, I'm going to do my best to get myself together. And thank you for bringing money up there and bringing up there to the jail for me." He said, "Hold up. I ain't never brought you no money." He said, "Now, I don't know who that was, but that wasn't me." I thought that was really funny. But like I said, I just kind of fed off what he was saying instead of correcting him. My cousin, on the other hand, "You ain't never been no jail. What you saying that for? I'm like, don't do that. You don't do that. She said, ooh, y'all getting on my nerve. You know he don't know it. Don't do that. I understand he doesn't know, but he doesn't know that he doesn't know. So hey, we got to roll with it. Another time I thought was funny. My mother was taking care of my grandfather. She was also taking care of my grandmother, her mother, and my great aunt all at one time. So it was a lot on her. I would help her out, as much as I could. And so I wanted to give her a little time away. So I told her, you go to Atlanta for the weekend, and I got this. And me and my cousin, hey, we're going to come up there. I'm going to spend the night. I'm going to stay the weekend. I'm going to do everything that, that you're doing. So sent her to Atlanta. So I got up there. So I knew that my grandfather, he was, at this time, his Alzheimer's had gotten really bad. He got lost twice, leaving out the house, and we had to get the police to find him, and he fell down some stairs. So at night, to keep him safe from himself, we had to lock him in the room. And then during the morning, we'd let him out, but we had to always keep an eye on him. So I had prepared breakfast for everybody, put everybody medicine, at the table. And my cousin hadn't gotten there yet, but I spent the night. So I'm getting ready to go to get him out the room. He's the last one. I got everybody else sitting at the table. She walks in the door, and I'm like, okay, we ready. We finna serve them breakfast. I go to open the door, and he is standing up, booty butt naked. Okay? The room is just tore up. He done pulled the wallpaper off the walls. He has flipped the mattresses. He has had a bowel movement. It was everywhere. And when I walked in, I was in such shock. I said, Granddaddy, oh my God. And it scared him, and he jumped. And he said, what, nurse? I ain't did nothing, nurse. Nurse, what's wrong with you? And I said, oh my God, I'm sorry. I said, Granddaddy, what are you doing? And my cousin came in. She was like, oh my God. I said, okay. I said, let's get this together. I said, you take Granddaddy in the bathroom, and you clean him up, and I clean up the room. Now you take Granddaddy and you take him in the bathroom. No, she said, you take Granddad in the bathroom and clean him up, and I clean up the room. I was like, no, you gonna take Granddad and I'm gonna clean the room. She said, please don't make me take Granddad in the bathroom and clean him up. I said, Amy, I always do all the hard work. I said, well, why do you want me? She said, please don't make me watch Granddad in private parts. Well, that's not the word she used. I said, oh my goodness. She said, please, Michelle, please don't make me watch Granddaddy private parts. I said, you gonna watch Granddaddy private parts today because I'm cleaning this room. She begged me. I'm the oldest. I said, okay, I'll watch Granddaddy private parts. Just come on. Have you ever tried to bathe someone without looking? Lord Jesus, I'm trying to shower him down. I'm trying to soap him up. But I don't want to look because it's my granddaddy. So I just had to say a quick prayer, Lord God Jesus, and I did it as quick as I could. And he was like, nurse, I ain't. Still hollering, nurse, I ain't did nothing. I said, no, you ain't did nothing, Mr. Jackson. You ain't did nothing. That was the end of that. Like I said, find the funny and keep your sanity. Now, I have one more little story for you. I had a client, a woman that I sat with. This was one of the worst cases of Alzheimer's that I had ever experienced. She didn't know her family, her children. Her husband had passed. She didn't know her children. She didn't know her home, and she slept there every night. She did not know her home. So the first day, when I came the first day, they had told me that she'll be asleep when you get here. You just, get her up, go upstairs, and they showed me where she was and, help her put on her clothes and everything. But they didn't give me a lot of background, which for those of you that are sitting out there or have a sitting business, go in first, assess the household, assess the client so that you can know how to deal with them accurately. So I got there and I went upstairs to get her up, and I was like, come on, get up and let's go downstairs and let's put on some clothes. She said, well, where are my clothes? I said, well, these are your clothes right here. These ain't none of my clothes. She said, I'm not putting on those clothes. I said, well, okay. So she came on down in her pajamas. Came downstairs, fixed her breakfast, and was listening to some music. And music is always good sometimes for Alzheimer's patients too. So then she looked around. She said, this house, it looks so familiar. I said, yes, because it's your house. This is not my house. I said, well, okay then. So now I'm really discombobulated. I'm like, oh my goodness. So that day was over. So as time went on, I kind of got more and more familiar with her. So I dealt with things more appropriately. So what I did was I found out that she worked in the community. She years ago, she had all these type of awards, and on her job, she had different awards. She volunteered helping people, and she just did a lot of philanthropy work, and she was awarded for all the work that she did. So when I got her up this time, I brought her downstairs. I got her to put on her clothes. I can't remember exactly how, but I got her to put on her clothes, brought her downstairs. And she said, oh my goodness. She said, whose house is this? It looks familiar. I said, this is my house. I said, but the reason it looks familiar, I said, girl, I love the way you decorated your home. I said, so I took some of the things that you did in your home and I decorated my home the same way. She said, really? I said, yes. She said, well, that makes me feel really good. Well, thank you. I said, yes, because you know you really have good taste. She said, well, thank you. So we went on to get ready to eat, and she said, well, she was asking me something about working, and I was telling her, I said, well, you know, she said, what am I doing here? Why am I here? I said, well, you know, I said, we volunteered together. You know, we volunteered to help these people. And she was like, oh, yes, because a lot of times they remember the past. They don't remember things that kind of recently happened. I said, you know, you're always volunteering to help. And so we volunteered to help. I said, so let's get this. I'm getting this breakfast done. We're going to eat us a little something before we feed them. Okay. So she was like, she was with that. So we ate breakfast. So as time went on, she was feeling more confident in me and comfortable with me. So one particular day, we had such a wonderful day. She kind of had talked about was remembering her sisters and talked about how they shopped together all the time. So her son came home and I was getting ready to leave, walking out the door. And I turned around to say bye to her, and she was on my back. I was like, well, okay, miss, not going to say her name. Well, where are you going? What's going on? She said, well, you said we was at work. It's time for us to get off, ain't it? I said, yeah. I said, but I said, you know, you volunteer to work overtime. I said, now you overachiever. You know how you are. I said, so girl, I will see you in the morning. She said, that's right. I said, I'll see you in the morning, girl. I said, you always trying to help somebody. She said, yes, I am. I just love helping people. I said, well, okay, girl. I said, give me a hug, and I will see you tomorrow. Laughed about it. Her and I laughed about it. And like I said, laughter is the key to a lot of things. Laughter saved my sanity. Well, that's all for this week, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Remember to always be a blessing and be blessed. Deuces.